In this video, I unbox Power Rangers, Heroes of the Grid. Let's take a look. Here we can see the components, the age range, player count, average run time. It says 2 to 5 players. However, this is a true co-op. And the low end, with the 2 players, each player plays 2 Power Rangers. So I would assume that it actually could go down to a solo game where one person just plays as both. I haven't had a chance to really digest the rules 100%, really dive into it to see if the, if there's an ill effect to the 2 different players kind of knowing what cards each individual has. That might be the only caveat to playing the solo. But being that it is a true co-op game, I'm betting it could go down to the solo. It's got a very interesting board, which we'll take a look at, because it's got this round board with your home base in the center and the little districts on the outside, each one of these being separate. So I'm thinking maybe in the future, or even with some of the expansions, as we'll look into in later unboxings, where maybe you'll have new areas that we might be able to go into, which would be a very interesting and unique way for increasing your world but still leaving it pretty much the same feel and the same game. Let's go ahead and crack this open and take a look at what we have inside. Go. Try to keep that. All right up front, immediately we have the rule book. Let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to go ahead and immediately flip to the back. Very nice. I like having a little reference sheet right here at the very back. Because I always try to keep the rules within hand's reach when playing, just in case you need to reference something. But having this kind of reference sheet real quick, where this is going to probably be the primary stuff you're looking at. So it's nice to have that kind of a thing. Going forward, no index by the looks of it. And when I say index, what I mean is a list of terms like, world, attack, hit, any of those kind of things with a page number to show you where it is. Because some things may only show up once, some things may actually happen multiple times throughout the game without the rules, and it'd be nice to know that, hey, if I am having a problem with attack or with some aspect of the game, let me look here. Oh, here's all the places it's referenced. I can look through and know exactly where to go to try to find that area where I might be potentially having a problem. So I like having an index. Unfortunately, they don't. I do know they are looking to have a Season 2 come out. Maybe we can, all call to arms and say, hey, give me an index in 2.0 or 1.5 or whatever it is for Season 1 or Season 2. Let's go ahead and take a look, see what we got. This is great. I do love this feature where they actually give you in one area the components within the game. So that way you can quickly make sure that you have everything, that you're good to go. Before breaking into the game, because I tell you what, it's a pain sometimes getting started, and all of a sudden you realize some halfway through the game and some item has been left out, and you got to quit and contact, and never fun. There's our setup. Go ahead and move that for a minute. And here we go. And by the looks of it, the game plays pretty much the exact same. Doesn't matter how many player counts you have. Where here it looks like here are going to be the slight changes. Where I think by the looks of it, the base play style is here. This 4-player, then 3-player, even less changes, and then 2-player with the most changes for just those two. Because like I said, I believe with this, the idea is you have your two rangers. Each person has two rangers, but they play together as the two rangers that each player has plays as a solo unit. But again, don't take me word for word on that. It might be a little different, but I'm guessing you could then play as both. Oh, and this is nice. When especially as the game was designed or was first brought in through the Kickstarter, they knew that they wanted to put a bunch of content that they couldn't put everything in the base game. It would just make it too big, too expensive, especially for retail. So they had to break it up into expansions. They took that into account, and they have put right here, hey, if you have expansions, here are some changes that might happen. Very cool. I like that a lot. And then again, that reference. All right, so then the next item that we have is their little catalog. We won't go through this entirely, but it's just their catalog of stuff. Oh, there's what we got going here. Very cool. And then their promo for all of those extra expansions, which we were just talking about. And there's actually an additional one that didn't go through the Kickstarter, so I'll probably have to pick that up during Season 2. But Bulk and Skull, an additional two Ranger characters to add to your game. That's cool. And now we're getting into the cardboard, our boards. Oh, and what was that? All I did was move. Oh, here we go. Look at that. Just picking these up, I could feel this start to come out. I had to go back and see what this was. See, this is the kind of punch that I like, where it just took nothing for that to come out. It immediately came out. No real burrs there. Of course, it is one giant heavy bit, but love to see that kind of thing. Great punch right there. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the rest. And here are those worlds we were looking at earlier. So you can see that's one. Yep. Oh, I'm seeing it's a double-sided. And this one, well, flying boards. That's cool. So I'm guessing with this, it's probably normal. Everything's kosher. Everything's going haywire. Just because of the color scheme they're going with. Very cool. Let's see how some of these others. That's a nice punch. Not the easiest I've had, but definitely not as hard as, say, like a GW punch. But definitely a clean punch. Very nice. So that's the same thing on either side of those. Let's go ahead and take a look at this next world. Very cool. And then here's the center, your home base by the looks of it. That one looks, yep. So you can see, oh, red alert. Everything's okay. Red alert. I love it. Little guy. And then we have that looks like their little, where they'd have their token or whatever. And then your big guy. I'm guessing this is going to be a token for the big fig. But I actually got this large fig. I'll be unboxing him later. Was one of the expansions. Let's see if I can pull out. Here we go. So here he is right there. So I'm betting that's what this is going to be, a token for representation of him. Very cool. Let's see what else we got. The next. And the final district. Where they're always going. And then we got some baggies to put all of those tokens that we just saw on the other boards in. And this, I love to see when a game company goes that extra mile and gives you a nice cover, especially when it's a miniature heavy game, because as you can see, they did not really move around there. That's great. And it looks like this one acts like the cover for the next one down. Oh, you move a little bit. Go right back in there. But that's always great, especially because if you are a painter, this kind of thing always helps. Because one of the worst things is to put a lot of time and effort into painting a mini, and then all of a sudden they're shaking around. So let's see here. By the looks of it, we have just a couple of these guys. So we'll take a look at him. And let's see. That base, that's a little, it's got a little wobble. Let's see if I can move that. See, it's got a little wobble, so it's not perfectly flat base, but that's okay. Doesn't look like there's enough material there on his feet if you were to try to cut him off and put him on a new base of your own. I don't think I'd want to attempt that with him, but maybe. But here, there's a good bit of detail there. Oh, especially here with his little ball. That's going to take real great to a wash and a dry brush. Nice little putty there. And then the next. And there might be a little bit of a mold line there. That needs a little bit of a cleanup, but for the most part, oh, here we go. There's the mold line. You see that right down the center there. So that'll be a little bit of a cleanup, but it does not look too impossible. Very nice. And then there. And it looks like these guys are the same as the bottom. So it looks like you have two different kind of putties. There and that. So now, let's go into all the unique guys. Let's take a look at our Power Rangers first. Blue. Very cool. And I like how they did a base colored plastic for all the Rangers. So if you aren't a painter, you still can play with these guys tabletop. Being that the Rangers look, you know, fairly similar. So having the colored plastic is really going to help differentiate them. While of course the villains are so different, they don't need that as much. But so that's a nice little added touch. Let's see. Oh, his base, it's much better, large base. That's a much better base right there. I like that. Let's see if we can spot any of his molds. And it looks like he was put together. You can tell where his arm right here, let's see if you can see that, was put in. So that might want to be a little bit of cleanup right there. just a little bit of plastic putty maybe, or that one might even be thin enough to go with the medium technique where you paint on some matte medium, and that'll go into here, into that recess of that crack, and fill that and act like a nice little fill. Another potential option is to make a very thin sprue glue maybe, but yeah, there we go. So there's our blue guy. How are you in here? There we go. Pink. Very cool. There, yep, right down the center of her for her mold line. But again, just a little bit of a light sand. That'll probably clean up real nice. Red. Now, of course, once I get to the villains, I'm nowhere near going to try to name them all. Not that good. Very cool. Oh, I love that axe. It's pretty straight. Maybe use a little bit. We're here, if you notice, the axe is a little cockeyed like that. I'm betting just a little hot water bath where you get yourself some hot water. Put your mini in the hot water for the part you want to manipulate. Pull it out, move it to the correct position that you want, and then put it in a thing of cold water to cool it off, and you should be able to reset it. So that's probably what I'll try to do there to straighten up that axe a little bit. But for the most part, that's pretty good. If I don't end up doing that, I would not be too concerned. It is still pretty straight. That is how you would want to fix that. Now onto our villains. And oh, now that's got some weight to it. Oh, that is one full thing of plastic. This is not a hollow piece. That has some weight. Wow. And again, same thing here. And we have that curve. Again, just a hot water bath. Bend it in, cold water, set it. The fork's supposed to be a little curved, so that one's okay. The ruffle, hair, whatever you want to, for that helmet piece, that looks like it's detail. It's so big. There's so much room here. That looks like it could have been detailed a little better, but I still like it. It's still pretty good. I can see where some people might want to sand his helmet a little more. But if he is supposed to be a big bad, that might not be so bad to make it look a little rough. There we go. Back in we go. Nice braid. Very cool. Same thing with her hair. I feel like that could have had potential to be a lot more detailed. It's just so big, but for what it is, that's still pretty good. Very nice. God, he looks just all kinds of evil. All right. Very cool. And let's read it for the last. And I know in one of these sets, I think it's in the Kickstarter exclusives, there's an alternate model for her. We'll be taking a look at that. Unboxing coming up later. But I think that's where she's going to end up being, her alternate. Her face has, you can see a little bit of the eyes, a little bit of the mouth. Pretty good. Cool. All right, now on to the cards. So these look like these are going to be character cards. And a quick look at the back. All right, so here it looks like you're going to have their vehicles and the characters. Very cool. And then, oh, here we go. The dice. These are some big dice. And these are, I also got, which I'll look at with the, probably the exclusives maybe. But it looks like they came with base dice for just everybody to use. But then they also came out with this dice set for individual colored, for the different colored rangers. So that's cool. So you can choose your base for anybody, or if you get a dice set. So the correct colored ranger can have the correct colored dice. That's cool. Nice little addition. And then here, and I like the looks of that. Let's see, can we see this? You can see they have a nice little room here for the cards. That's definitely going to be large enough to sleeve these. And look how deep that is. There's plenty of room there to put all your expansion cards probably in this one set. So that's nice. Let's go ahead and take that wrapper off. And there we go. Let's quickly. Okay, so by the looks of it, there's going to be decks for the different villains. Yep. And the putties. And then some boss monster. And the areas. Yep. One. So it looks like there's different decks for each area. So let's quickly go through these. I'm worried about potential spoilers. So I don't want to show too much, but I want you to be able to see this artwork on here. And these are just cards for the putty, so I don't think we're really seeing anything too devastating. And then the different cards that you can get. said, I'm deliberately kind of going through quick just in case, so you can see what that art looks like. Feel free to pause if you really want to take a closer look, but I don't want to potentially spoil, if I don't have to, for anybody. Because again, I don't know all the rules. I don't know what different cards might potentially do as of yet. And then our last deck of cards. Let's get that wrapper off from here. Here we go. And let's take a look at this real quick. All right, looks like it's going to be the last of our area cards. And then those, looks like they're all going to be action cards of some type. So these will probably be the cards you're creating a deck with. And then these look okay. Looks like they're going to be for the black player. Blue, yeah. So yeah, it looks like every character, hero or villain is going to have a deck. And then that final area. Cool. Well, all right, let's go ahead and let's change this up a little bit. We'll put those there, and we will go ahead and pull these guys back out. Boom. So this is areas. We'll go ahead and stick that right there with the rest of the areas. Very cool. Well, that is the new Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. I hope you found it interesting and it enticed you to go out and get yourself. For the most part, this right here, well, not for the most part, this is exactly like you would get it for retail. Coming up in another separate unboxing, I'm going to do the Kickstarter exclusives. I wanted to make sure I did those separately so people can know exactly what the differences are. So anybody not in the Kickstarter would know what to expect to get if they just go out retail. But remember, there is Season 2 going to be coming to Kickstarter. They haven't released a date yet, but Season 2 will be coming. And part of Season 2, you can, if you weren't part of Season 1, go back and get Season 1. I'd be willing to bet you'll be able to get the Season 1 Kickstarter exclusives. Don't know that for sure, but usually when they do this kind of Season 1, Season 2 things, they do let you. So if you are interested in the game, you might want to hold off a little bit and check out that Season 2. And while we have the box here, let's go ahead and... Wow, that's a nice... Well, with it's as big and hardy as a game it's got to be, that's a nice sturdy box. So they definitely didn't skimp out when it comes to the packing materials and making sure that it's going to be good for you. I like that. Again, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.